shared onto Smurfit. So then, folks, this evening we are playing with hip mobility. I think about the hips as being the spaghetti junction of the body, because if you think about where the hips are here, and then you think about basically every big muscle in the body. Think of a big muscle in the body and it connects onto here in some way, shape, or form. And so what happens in our hips hugely informs core, pelvic floor, glutes, hamstrings, quads, spine. Basically every big muscle in the body is hinged onto this point. And so what happens in our hips then starts to affect, in the same way that a few weeks ago we kind of micro focused down onto feet and toes, same idea with the hips. What happens in our hips hugely affects what happens in the rest of the body. So we're going to be playing around with some hip mobility. Hi there, Anna. Nice to see you, lovely. So we're going to start standing this evening. I have in my room, I have a brick with me this evening, but you don't have to have one, because you might have a yellow velvet chair, or you might have a blue velvet chair, or you might have a bed, you might have a table, some chest of drawers, something that kind of just at that kind of height. So obviously the height between that and my chair is quite a difference, but basically something that we can kind of rest against. But we can play around with that once we come to it. But you might want to have a brick to hand. And we're going to get started. So I always get started connecting into my feet, because I might have spent my whole day disconnected from my body. A really good way to get out of my head and into my body is through moving into the feet. So we're just going to find a little bit of a lift up into the toes and then back onto the heels. And we can let the knees be super soft here. So we don't need to have super straight legs. Nice, we're getting into that ankle mobility, just nice fluid movement, and then a little few movements side to side as well. So this is not about, oh my goodness, I must make this exact shape. This is just literally about helping us to go, okay, game on, we're going to do some sports stretch. I'm just going to connect back into my body. We can lift the toes up, we can place the toes down, just helping to kind of ground and reconnect into this space. And then from here, we're going to find our spinal articulation. So this is sending the spine in as many different directions as possible. We're going to start by bringing the chin to the chest, and then find the shoulders, and then the mid back, and then the lower back. Find that juicy bit, soft into the knees so the knees can be bent. I'm going to roll down all the way down towards the ground. At your furthest point, wherever we've got to, doesn't matter how far down it is, we're going to roll all the way back up. So again, the name of the game here is to just move. We're just getting the spine to move. Chin to the chest, shoulders heavy, keep the knees soft, rolling down bone by bone to your furthest point, wherever that is, and then rolling back up, restacking. Nice. Last one here, chin to the chest, shoulders heavy, mid back, almost like you can move every single vertebra in order, perhaps. This time we're going to end up on the ground, so bending into the knees, hips can come down. The lovely thing about doing this from home is that you can do it in as dignified or undignified a way as you like, I don't mind. I'm going to move this way a little bit so that you can see a bit better what's happening with my back. So conversation with the lower back. Let's press lower back into the ground, and then we're going to come back into neutral. You can bring your hands to your hips here if you want to. Hips don't lie. So lower back pressing into the ground, and then back into neutral. Tiny, tiny movement, just finding that pelvic tilt, lower back pressing into the ground, and then back into neutral. So already you're about to feel, as you press lower back into the ground, core starts to wake up, glutes start to activate. As you come back into neutral, those things start to switch off a little bit. That is what we're playing with. Lower back into the ground, this time listen for the change, press into the feet, rolling up through the spine, coming up towards the shoulders, and then place the spine down in order. So if you're used to doing a bridge, lifting the hips up is slightly different. Lower back into the ground, rolling up bone by bone, coming towards the shoulder blades, and then placing the spine down bone by bone in order. So it's a ripple from one end of the spine to the other. Let's go for one more. Rolling lower back into the ground, lifting up to wherever is comfortable for you, and then placing the spine down bone by bone in order. Nice. Hands onto the knees. Draw the knees in as you breathe out, And as you breathe in, send the knees away. Breathe out, knees in. Breathe in, knees out. So again, you'll be able to feel lower back into the ground, space into the lower back, and then coming back to neutral. Lower back presses into the ground, and then finding that natural tilt. Last one here, breathe out. Good, and then breathing in. Nice. This time, let's bring that left foot down, and we're just going to draw a circle with that right knee. This is just about polite conversation with that right hip. Hello, right hip, how are you? Good evening. Rather than, oh my goodness, I must make a really big, impressive shape here. We're literally just helping our soft tissue to glide, just to go, oh yeah, I can get a little bit unstuck. So make sure you circle a few times in both directions. Nice. And then we're going to bring hand behind right thigh. So we're going to, again, I'm exaggerating here. You can have your knee quite bent. These trousers are a bit weird. So you can see my leg a bit better there. So I've got my leg quite bent there. And I'm going to point the toes and flex them back towards me. Pointing the toes and back towards me. One more pointing and flexing. And then let's draw a little circle. Round in one direction and round into the other. Nice. Let's bring right ankle onto the knee. I'm going to guide that right knee down towards the bottom corner. If you're on a mat, it's down towards the bottom corner of the mat. And again, rather than I must stay here and add loads of tension to my body, we're looking to release tension in the body. So movement is our friend. I'm finding a little bit of a gentle rocking movement here. This is quite a spicy stretch up into the piriformis, which I call the piri-piri, after Nando's, piri-piriformis. A little bit spicy. Nice. Option to stay here. Option to bring the hand behind left thigh, in front of left shin. Nice. And then when you're ready, we'll release. I'm gonna sort out my trousers. Good. Let's bring hand onto the left knee, circling left knee round. Again, polite conversation. Hello, left knee. How are you? We're not looking to get shouty with the muscles, just listening into that polite conversation. And then a few circles in the other direction. Nice. From here, hands behind left thigh. Again, you can bend that knee as much as you want to. It doesn't need to be super straight leg. Pointing the toes and then flexing them. Pointing and flexing. Let's go for one more. Pointing and flexing. And then we're going to draw a nice juicy circle round. And then a nice juicy circle round in the other direction. Nice. Let's bring left ankle onto the knee. And again, find movement here. So I'm just gently rocking that left hand onto the thigh, just creating a little bit more space into the hip. What happens when we come into really deep stretches and then try to hold them is it's a little bit like when you pull a seatbelt too quickly and it just kind of stops. I've had it recently when my car, I pulled my seat forward and the seatbelt, cut my seat forward and the seatbelt got stuck. And it was really flipping hard to undo it because everything just kind of tensed. Similar thing happens with our muscles. If you pull it too quickly, it just kind of stops. Whereas if you just pull it nice and gently, gentle stretching, gentle movement, those muscles then start to work with us rather than against us. Options: hands behind right thigh, in front of right shin. And again, you can move here if that feels good. I quite like finding a little bit of a rock side to side. Nice. And then we're going to bring both feet down. Let's straighten both legs. Both arms reach up above the head. So already you might feel the lower back start to lift here, might feel the ribs start to lift. Reaching right hand away from right foot, and then left hand away from left foot. So again, we're moving into the pelvis here, moving into the hips. Little side reach, you'll feel that kind of hitching movement from side to side. Good. And then let's cross left ankle on top of the right and send the feet away to that right side. Hands reaching all the way above the head, sending the hands over towards that right side. So if I was stood up, I'd be going like that out to the side. So it's like a banana shape. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. So right ankle, both feet over to the side, right ankle on top, and then reaching both arms over. Nice. And then come back into the middle. We're going to make our way up to seated, guys. So if you want to, you can roll to the side. I love, underrated shape of the day, is a bit of rocking and rolling. So we're going to rock and roll, mini massage into the back of the body. Honestly, the number one reason to become a yoga teacher is that you get to do this as your job. It is brilliant. I've yet to find another job where you can get away with doing this. Kind of frowned upon most of the time. Awesome, guys. So from here, we're going to come into a comfortable seat. Doesn't matter what's happening with the legs. So if as a full-grown adult, you wouldn't go around to your friend's house and sit like this, you don't need to do that here. Doesn't matter what's happening with the legs, we're going to work on the spine again. Let's bring one hand down, the other arm lifts up, and then send the ribs to the side. So those guys who've done this before, we're not dropping down as far as we can. Press into that bottom arm, nice. Back into the center, and then same on that second side. Good. So it's much more about that movement through the ribs and through the spine rather than the squashing. Good. So just because it looks good on Instagram doesn't mean it's actually doing anything. Good. Let's go for a twist. So breathing in to lift up. Turn the ribs towards the side and then the hands can come down. Nice. Back into the center. Turn the ribs towards that second side and then the hands can come down. Good. One more time on each side. So follow the breath up. Turn the ribs rather than just the shoulders, so we're getting all the way into the spine. Lovely. And then back into the middle, ribs towards the side, and then the hands can come down. Really good. Let's come back into the center. So I'm going to turn to the side here, hands onto the knees. You can see what's happening with my lower back is finding this movement. So I'm going to round back. I could just round back here, but I want to get the lower back to tilt back as well. Breathing in, that ripple through the spine, squeeze shoulder blades together. Breathing out, rounding back. Yeah, good, good, good. Breathing in to come forward, squeeze shoulder blades together. Last one, rounding back. And then squeeze shoulder blades together. Awesome. Hands can come down and we'll bring the knees underneath the hips. If you need to have cushion or blanket under your knees, fantastic. If you want to have your hands further forward so that it's less of an angle into the wrists, brilliant. Another option is to bring the forearms down if there's any discomfort into the wrists. So from here, let's see if we can get that ripple through the spine. So rather than just dropping through the ribs, we're going to see if we can move. Lower back scooping in, press into the shoulder blades, and then traveling up towards the shoulders, head down. And then we're going to reverse that movement. Boom, 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 boom. Nice. Let's keep going. Exhale, rounding. Lower back presses into that, tilting down. Good. And then reversing that ripple. Lovely. Last one. Scooping lower back down. Navel to spine. Press in between the shoulder blades. Head down. And then back into neutral. Knees wide. Toes together. Sit bones back. So finding a child's pose. Any discomfort into the hips or into the knees, you can have the forearms down and keep the hips lifted. Both are awesome. We're going to walk both hands over to one side, doesn't matter which side, and see if you can send the shoulder and the hips back. So we're not just kind of reaching over. Good. And then we'll walk through the center and we'll bring both hands to the other side. Whilst again, drawing that shoulder and the hips back. Really nice. And let's come back into the middle. We'll tuck the toes under, bring the knees to a hover, and then press belly towards the thighs. Good. We're going to bring one heel down and then the other. Really nice. So focusing much more on length through the spine. So rather than, often what happens is people try and get their heels down and then they end up in this kind of shape because you're so desperate to get the heels down that you end up rounding. Again, what's happening there? It's the hips. The hips don't lie, as Shakira said. So instead of trying to bring the heels down, bend into the knees. That's going to find space into the spine, and then your hips can actually move as they need to give your hamstrings a bit of space. Let's walk the feet all the way towards the hands, holding on to opposite elbows, and then find a little bit of a sway through from side to side. We can shake the head no, we can nod the head yes. You can move into the jaw as well. Also rolling all the way up. Beautiful. Awesome, team. So from here, we're going to warm up a little bit more. Hands into the chest, bending into the knees. So I'm sitting down rather than back. So rather than sticking my bum out, sinking my hips down so I can feel it into the back of my calves. So hands into the chest, let's tap towards one side. Nice, back into the center, tap towards the other side. Let's go for one more on each side. Check in with the knees. What happens here is that our knees go, it's okay, I'll do that instead. And we find that we move into the knees. So let's see if we can keep the knees where they are. And then we're moving into the spine. Awesome. Both hands down. Let's bring left foot back, left knee down. Brilliant. Twist towards that front knee and then twist away from it. So it doesn't matter if you've done the wrong side because we're doing both sides. Good. Let's go for one more. Twist towards the knee. Lovely. Twist away from the knee. Good. And lifting up. So pressing into that front big toe, hands towards the chest. So again, I want to move my whole torso here rather than just my shoulders. So can you turn your belly button towards the knee? Good. And then back into the center, turn the belly button away from the knee and then back into the center. Good. One more on each side. So you'll feel that's a much more concentrated twist into the spine rather than just into the shoulders. Good. And then from here, I'm going to bring my left knees down so my left arm lifts. Scoot the tailbone down. So a little bit of that hip thrust already, getting into the pelvis again, and find a side reach. Nice. Breathing in, reach, reach, reach. We're getting into the psoas, into the hip flexors, side reach. Good. Keep pressing into that front big toe. So notice if your knee's having a little party on its own. Reaching over to the side. Fantastic. Awesome, team. Let's bring both hands down, step back, and find another downward facing dog. Again, really find that length through the spine rather than rounding forwards. So we can lift the heels. Forget about bringing the heels down. Good. And then we're going to look between the hands, find a step or a walk or a jump. Doesn't matter which one. And then hold on to opposite elbows and release down. Again, my knees are quite soft the whole time. You can't see when I'm wearing these trousers, but I've not got super straight legs here. I'm focusing on length into the spine rather than into the hamstrings. And then rolling through the spine. I'm going to change direction so that I'm still facing towards you and not being antisocial. Hands into the chest. Sink the weight down, not back. So I'm quite high up and I can feel the backs of my calves waking up here. Turn your tap to one side, good, back into the center and tap into that second side. Again, little clue here, is your knee doing this, jumping forwards? That means that we're moving into our hips rather than into our spine. Nice, let's bring both hands down. Good, this time right foot back, right knee down. Lovely, twist towards that front knee, please. Lovely, back into the center, well done. And twist away from that front knee. Good, let's do one more on each side. Lovely, good job. And then from here, we're going to press into that front big toe to rise up, hands towards opposite shoulders. Again, notice if we're just kind of hanging out here, scoot the tailbone forward. So you'll immediately feel, oh, hello, right hip flexor. How are you, you wonderful thing? What happens with the back toes is going to affect this as well. I feel much more activated when I've got the toes tucked under than if I've got my foot flat. So keep that scoop under, turn the belly button towards the side, back into the center, belly button to the other side. So again, rather than just moving my shoulders, nothing else is joining in. I'm feeling a much deeper spiral into my mid back here. Good. Awesome. Same side hand, right knee down, right arm lifts. Scoot the tailbone down, reach over to the side. Awesome. Breathing in, reach, reach, reach. Hello, hello, psoas. Over to the side. Nice, last one. This is a muscle that gets super, super tight for most of us. We do a lot of sitting, we do a lot of running as well. Super, super strong muscle. Awesome, team. So from here, we're going to come down to lying on our side. We're going to work on muscles that stabilize into the sides of the hips, because it's all about the hips today. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, rather than imagine that you're standing. If you're standing up and your arms up, there's a little bit of a natural gap between the ribs. You're not kind of dropping down like that. See if you can get that sense of lifting the lower ribs away. So rather than just kind of dropping into the ground, there's a natural sense of lifting away. So I can slide my fingers underneath because I've got a nice neutral and active core. So from here, let's bend into the knees. Not super close, but just kind of bringing a bit of a bend to the knees so that the feet are still in line with the bum. And we're going to just lift that top knee and then exhaling, easing down. Nice, breathing in to come up. Exhaling, easing down. Keep in line with that space underneath the ribs. Nice. We're going to see if we can do this while using that core stability. So breathing in, breathing out, really pushing that breath out. So getting that pressure chamber to activate. You can check by pressing into the sides of the ribs here. So not just bracing into the front of the belly, it's the transverse abdominal muscles that we're getting to engage here. So breathing in, breathing out. Good. And you can just check into the side of the ribs. From here, see if you can keep everything steady and stable as you lift that top knee up and then gliding it down. Top knee lifts, you can still breathe even with those muscles engaged. I'm talking and I'm able to keep that stability and recruitment of those muscles. Top knee lifts and then easing down. Good. Keep that top leg where it is, slide bottom leg out. At this point, you might want to bring your hand down. If it feels more comfortable to have your head propped up, by the way, you're more than welcome to do that. Top knee lifts and then down. Top knee lifts, keep that recruitment and then down. If you need to re-recruit, then we breathe in and then breathe out. Good. Let's lift that top knee up and then easing top knee down. So the idea of everything that we're doing here is to create that stability so that as we move one part of our body, the whole of the rest of the body doesn't need to kind of compensate and join in. This is going to be really valuable as we're moving around. If we're any kind of sports pursuit that we have, we're able to keep everything kind of stable, even as we are doing other things. Nice last one. Oh, hello hip. And then we'll straighten that top leg. So what we're not doing here is lifting up as high as we can. Lovely as that is. Your homework, guys, is to look up Victoria Beckham. She has done a load of photo shoots in different clothes in this pose. I've got no idea. So it's obviously different shoots because there's loads of them. Anyway, that's not what we're going for. We're going to see if we can keep the space underneath the ribs. Less is more. So we're just lifting that top leg up and then down. Lifting top leg up and then down. And you might want to try going too far because when you go too far, you can feel, actually it's very different muscles that you're playing with. Nice. And then bring it back. So breathing in, breathing out, and then top leg lifts, and then down. The next thing that we're going to do is draw a circle. Now my body wants to basically go, it's okay, I'm going to do this instead. I've got to really fight hard to stabilize so that it's just the leg that's moving. I can feel how I'm wanting to kind of rock forwards and backwards. So it's really, really targeting into that top hip. Oh my goodness, top hip, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Awesome, team. Let's see if we can do another couple in the other direction. Good. Minimal movement in the rest of the body. Awesome. Let's bring that top knee over and we can give a little rub and go, awesome, you're the best. Thank you so much, hips. All is forgiven. We're going to find a quad stretch here, seeing as we can. So to do that, I'm going to stabilize by bending that bottom knee. Top hand can come towards that top foot. Again, it's all about the pelvis. We're going to draw the hips forwards and then you're going to feel that stretch across the front of that top thigh. Hello quads, how are you? Awesome. If you want to add in the shoulders here, you press the foot into the hand. So rather than having that foot coming up, press the foot into the hand and come behind you. Yeah, nice, nice, nice. Brilliant. Let's roll to lie on the back. So stability into the pelvis. Pressing the feet into the ground, you can feel the fingertips with the heels. You can feel the heels with the fingertips even. Lower back presses into the ground, and we're going to roll up to come towards the shoulders. Nice. Simple version first. So let's recruit into those muscles, breathing in, breathing out. So we've got that sense of hugging in. I'm just going to straighten my right leg. So I'm not lifting it up, I'm just straightening it out, keeping that knee in line with the other leg. And then I'm going to shift over to the left leg. Good. So I'm keeping my knees level. I'm not lifting my leg up at all. I'm using my glutes, I'm using my core. But you're probably, without even realizing it, using your elbows a lot. Let's put it to the test, shall we? So we're going to roll back down through the spine, both feet wide, drop both knees to one side, back into the middle, both knees to the other side. Awesome. Now let's try that again. Fingertips to the heels, lower back into the ground, hands to opposite shoulders this time. Rolling through the spine to lift. Good. So again, I'm not sort of arching my back. I'm keeping my spine fairly neutral. Breathing in to recruit the muscles. Breathing out. Good. From here, right leg lengthens away. Oh my goodness. And then left leg. Bring that left leg down. Good. Awesome. Can you feel the difference? Sneaky, huh? You will not have been putting that much weight into your shoulders on purpose, by the way. But this goes to show just how much our bodies are going, it's okay, I'll do this instead. Nice. Re-recruit those muscles, breathing in, breathing out. Good. Right foot lengthens away. Oh my goodness. I feel like one of those, Indiana Jones, where they've got those rope bridges in the middle of the jungle and they just kind of sway around. That's what's happening in my body at the moment. Like full on. Woo! Awesome. We're going to roll down, which tells me that stability is awesome and I need to do more of it. So we're going to roll to lie on the other side, whichever side you weren't on last time, because otherwise we'll be walking in circles for the rest of the week. So again, think about that gap underneath the ribs. So if you were stood up, would your ribs be jumping out to the side? Get that sense of lifting up and away, bit of a gap, bending into the knees, recruit those muscles. These are the ones we're looking to stabilize us. Breathing in, breathing out. Good. Top knee lifts, and then top knee down. Let's find 3 more. Good. So again, you'll feel if you go too far. Sometimes it's good to play around with sending it too far and you'll feel that it's actually different muscles. With all of these things, when we're stabilizing, we're looking to do really, really tiny micro-focused little movements here. That's going to help us much more than doing the kind of massively bendy stuff. We're looking to stabilize, to strengthen, so that as we're moving around and doing things, these awesome tiny little muscles are going to be holding us where they need to. Let's straighten that bottom leg, sorry. Top leg stays where it is. And again, you might want to bring the hand in front here, if it's not there already. Lifting top knee, easing down. Checking in, are you still recruited? Do we need to switch those muscles back on again? Good. Last one. Really nice. From here, top leg straightens. Exhale, lifting. Breathing in. We're not going full VB, Victoria Beckham. Just keep it quite low, quite contained, and you'll feel the difference. Good. Just check in. Have you still got transverse abdominal muscles, that corset of muscles that wrap around your center between the ribs and the hips to stabilize? Last little option here is those circles. Nice. Smaller is better. Good. And then a few circles in the other direction. Awesome. Well done, team. Nice. Let's bring that top knee over and say, oh my goodness, you're the best. Thank you so much, hips. Hip adductors. And then we're going to bring I'm bending that bottom knee just to stabilize, top hand towards top foot. Again, don't have the foot up, have that knee down, and you can scoot the tailbone forward. So you're going to feel that stretch across the top of that top thigh. Good. Option to press the foot into the hand, and that's going to get into the shoulder as well. Brilliant. Well done, team. Awesome. So from here, we're going to find ourselves back in standing. Water is our friend. It is still toasty, even though it's not as toasty as it's been. So do remember to stay hydrated, folks. So I'm going to come to standing and I'm going to step my right foot back. And I'm going to turn both toes in. I'm going to find my brick. So I can bring my brick underneath me. I can also use my lovely yellow velvet chair. So from here, bringing one arm up. Nice. Back into the center. And then bring the other arm up. Good. Let's go for one more on each side. See if you can have the toes slightly turning in, heels slightly out. This is going to keep the knees nice and soft. Good. Now we're changing the position of the feet. Heels in, knees out. Good. Breathing in to lift up. Breathing out, bend the knees, sink down. Good. Breathing in, super strong through the legs. Breathing out. Yeah, lovely. Keep pressing into the big toes as well. It's going to change the sensation into the inner thighs. Lovely, last one. Good. So from here, I step my right foot back. I'm going to bring my left heel to a straight line and turn the right toes out to the side. Again, you can find a brick if you have one. So I'm going to reach forwards as far as I can. When I can't reach any further, that front hand comes down. Move the brick out of the way so you can see. Good. Top hand comes down, and then I'm going to roll all the way up. So I'm really getting into the side of my ribs here. Front knee stays a little bit soft. Down and then rolling back through. Awesome. Bend into that front elbow, reach the arm over the side of the head. So almost like you're trying to get fingertips to that back heel in a straight line. Good. We're going to lift that back heel, pivot round. It might be wobbly. You can walk that front foot out to the side a little bit, hands towards the shoulders. We're going to find a bit of a split squat. So drop that back knee down and then super strong to come back up. Hello, glutes. Back knee to a hover and super strong. Yes, lovely. Last one. Really nice. Straight line again from that back heel to the fingertips. Beautiful. Hands into the chest, front elbow. So my right leg's forwards. I'm going to bring my left elbow to my knee. Finding that twist. Back foot steps forwards. Lovely. And then we come back up. Awesome. We're going to do that on the other side. So left foot steps back. Toes in, heels out. I can find my brick if I want to, and I'm going to find a little bit of a twist and then back into the middle, twist to the other side. Really nice, folks. Again, you can use the side of a table, side of a bed. Lovely. Awesome. Change your position of the feet, please. Heels in, toes out. So the knees are naturally going to want to bend, and we can stand up. Arms up, and then breathing out, ease them down. Good. So again, I'm sitting down from a side view, down rather than back. So I'm not doing like weight training. Good, last one. Awesome. So left toes this time, facing away. Right foot in a straight line. Both legs straight, reach forwards as far as you can. And then bring that bottom hand down. Top hand can come down. And then we're going to unravel. So this is getting that lovely rotation through the spine. Oh, the reason that I do this is because a lot of the time I see people go, great, I've made it, I've made it. I can reach my foot. And actually we've lost that twist into the upper body. Good, really nice. Let's bring a bend into that front knee, reach the arm away. So actually I can hover that bottom arm away. I'm not bringing any weight into it. Fingertips towards that back heel. Yes, awesome. And then lift the back heel, hands towards the shoulders. We're going to go for those little split squat. So as we breathe out, little dip down, breathing in super strong, strong through that back leg, hello glutes. Breathing out to come down, super strong to come up. Good. Last one. Really nice. Let's find that reach forwards, away from that back heel, fingertips reaching away. Nice. Hands into the chest. Right elbow towards the left knee. Press into the knee. Good. Back foot comes to join you. And then we go back up to standing. Well done, folks. Amazing. That's our functional standing. So we've been doing lovely, really functional stretches there. We're now going to work into some hip mobility. So let's come down to seated, folks. A little thing that might be helpful here is to sit either on a brick or if you have a mint green jumper, other jumper colours are allowed, sitting onto it. The reason that I say that is because lots of us, when we sit down, if we've got a tilt in our pelvis, a posterior tilt, as soon as we come into any of this, we're going to be rounding here. So what happens when we've got something underneath the hips is it's going to give the pelvis a little bit of space to tilt forwards. And that's going to help you no end when you come to all these sorts of things. So bricks are brilliant for that. Books are brilliant for that. Sitting on a blanket or a mint green jumper are also good for that. I'm going to move back so you can see what I'm going. So from here, I've got both legs straight, both feet flexed, and I'm going to draw a nice big circle. Nice. Good. So if it feels like, oh my goodness, I'm really rounding back, see if you can lift your hips a little bit more. It's going to be your friend. We can work with our body rather than against it. It's not kind of, oh my goodness, I'm doing a cheap version. It's literally saying, there you go, hamstrings. You don't need to work quite so hard. I'm going to help with that natural tilt. And then we're going to stir a few times in the other direction. If it helps to motivate you, we could be stirring an enormous bowl of Pims. That's where I'm going. Something that's going to stop you from leaving anything on the sides. Chocolate cake. Fill in the blank. One of Sarah's delicious, nutritious recipes that she gives out. Nice. And then let's bring right foot against left leg. So again, I'm going to reposition so I can find that lift into my pelvis, turn towards the straight leg. You can have that knee bent. This can be quite loud on the hamstrings. We're going to reach all the way up and then forwards. So again, rather than down, forwards. Yeah. And then rolling back through and then reaching forwards. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And then rolling back through. So what's happening here is our muscles are going, oh, it's okay. I don't need to, that seatbelt reaction doesn't need to happen. I'm headed in this general direction. I'm safe. It's just sport stretch. I don't need to tighten and freak out. Yeah, good, good, good. If your leg's straight, awesome. If your knee is bent, brilliant. Awesome. This time we're going to press pause. So again, rather than, I see this all the time. Brilliant, I've found my toes, but I can't actually breathe. It's much better to have the hands up towards the thighs and to still be able to breathe. That's how our nervous system is going to go, it's okay, I'm safe. And when our nervous system goes like that, then the muscles go, it's okay, I can relax here, rather than tensing up. Good. Let's find a little bit of a lift, and then a little bit further down, and then a little bit of a lift, and then a little bit further down. Beautiful. Awesome. We're going to twist towards that bent knee. So your right knee is probably bent. Again, rather than I've moved my shoulders and nothing else is joining in, I'm going to use my left hand against my left leg, lift up nice and tall, turn your ribs towards the bent knee. Good. Breathing in, sitting up nice and tall. Breathing out, maybe a little bit more. Just see if you can do like 1 millimeter each time. And I know that 1 millimeter is a very small amount. Once you start to get round, then your hand might start to come a little bit further back. Your hand on your straight leg might come onto the bent knee, and you might start to gaze over toward the shoulder. Nice. From here, left hand towards left leg, right hand towards the lower back. We are having a conversation here with our quadratus lumborum. This is that sneaky muscle that runs from kind of the middle of the rib cage out to the outside of the hip. It gets very tight. It's really hard to isolate. This is a really good way to isolate it. I love playing with this one. So option to stay here, keep that top shoulder lifted. Option to lift the arm up. Nice. Option to lift the arm over the ear. Perfect example of Instagram versus helpful functional movement. This would be one version of this, but I actually feel that stretch much better here. And I don't turn myself into a human pretzel as well. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And then we're going to come all the way up. Well done, folks. Really good. Let's bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees drop out towards the side. Again, having something underneath your hips is going to be your friend here. It's going to help tilt the pelvis. So again, I see this a lot. People think, oh no, I can't use props. So they'll be sat here like this. When actually, if you're sat on something that gives you a tiny bit more space, it's a lot more comfortable. You're able to breathe. Nice. And then we are going to straighten right leg out. Left foot towards straight leg. Good. Turn the ribs towards the straight leg, please. And then we're going to reach up and then forwards rather than down. Hello, hamstring. How are you? Lovely. And then rolling back through, reaching up, reach forwards, like you're trying to get your heart to your toes. Please don't actually do that. Sound effects would not be good. Lovely, reaching forwards rather than down. Really nice. Remember, you can bend that front knee. Don't need to have straight leg. This is a super spicy hamstring stretch, particularly if you've already been out running as well. Good. Let's bring the hands down to wherever they come to. Remember, it's not about, I must get my hand to my foot. The clue is, can I breathe here? Breathing in, find a little lift. Breathing out, maybe a little bit further forwards. Nice. Breathing in, little lift. Yeah, good guys. Breathing out a little bit further forwards. Awesome. It's that like seatbelt thing that we've talked about. Nice. Awesome. So from here, coming all the way back up, we're going to twist towards that bent knee. Again, lift up here. So like you're telescoping your ribs. Turn the ribs towards the bent knee, and then the hands can come down. We are not getting stuck here. We're heading in this general direction. So rather than, I must hold this shape, think about lifting the crown of the head every single time, and then find a little bit more. Breathing in, lift, 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 and then maybe just a millimeter more. Keep going. So rather than I have now achieved this shape, this is where I live, think about heading in this. Oh, I wonder if I can see just a millimeter further behind me. That back hand can start to walk away a little bit. That front hand might end up on the knee. It really doesn't matter. From here, we're going to say hello, quadratus lumborum on the left side. So to do that, I'm going to bring my right hand to the leg, left hand to the lower back. The clue is that top shoulder up. So rather than rounding forwards all of a sudden, this is a twist. Good. Option, arm up to the sky. Option, arm reaching away. You might need to play around with the angle. So it might be that you come down a little bit. This is going to be a really unique conversation in your body. For me, I can feel I need to come into a slightly different position to be able to feel that stretch on this side because my hips are a little bit wonky. But I still love them. They're still wonderful. Nice. And then take your time to come all the way back up. Brilliant, team. Oh my goodness, we have had a whistle-stop tour of our hips, haven't we? So we've played with glutes, we have played with core, we have played with the muscles around the outside of the hips, the adductors and the abductors as well, when we've been playing with some of those triangle poses. I hope that you have found that helpful this evening. I'm going to stop the recording. And as always, any questions, either feel free to ask away, any comments, feedback, good, bad, or ugly, or any requests for other sessions, then do let me know. But I'll stop recording now.